question stands if we shouldn't create everything in a mobile way.
Anonymous, who apparently hacked Russian streaming services and state TV.
TikTok, which now decided to suspend content in Russia.
Google is experimenting with radar technology. Hi, and welcome to episode 20 of the Tech Review. Every 2 weeks we gather to discuss the hottest topics from science, technology and innovation. With me on, camera 4, we have Vincent, lead anchor of News Review and owner of, I believe, 80,000 followers on TikTok. And then on camera 3, we have Chris, head of immersive tech and harbinger of the robot apocalypse. On camera 2, we have Henrike, our very own space explorer. And on camera 1, that's me, Tarek. I just climbed out of bed because I'm currently in a totally different time zone and than everybody else. If you like what you see here, you can of course follow us directly on our websites ideasengineering.io and freetech.academy, and of course, very conveniently, on all of our social media channels. You can find the links in the description below. And without any further ado, let's jump right into the news. Oh yeah, and I have one new thing. I built this small widget on top here so that I do not have to manually assemble the order in which we go through the article. So now I have like this random generator. And this one tells me now that the first link is actually coming from me. And this is going to be the Cybercriminals who breached Nvidia story, that one that I promoted on LinkedIn for today's stream. Okay, let's jump into it. If you did not read it yet, Cybercriminals captured some data from Nvidia. And Nvidia, the provider of graphic cards and the let's say market leader of GPUs, they got some demands, and I call them cyber terrorists because they threaten, of course, the company to release all the stolen data. They demand that a certain feature is going to be removed from their firmware, and they are talking about the so-called LH. Where is it? This one feature that is supposedly throttles the hash calculation of the graphic card, which is important if you use the Nvidia graphic cards for crypto mining. Yeah, so if you're using it for crypto mining, then you have a hard time using these graphic cards, even though it's of course the preferred choice. And this makes these cards very, very in high demand for everyone on the market. And real gamers have a hard time to purchase these cards. And so the assumption is that Nvidia purposeful included this feature so that it makes their GPUs more unattractive for crypto miners. Yeah, and so these hackers and cyber criminals, they now demand that with the next firmware update, they remove this feature so that they can use, or they say for the whole crypto community, use these graphic cards again for GPU mining. And I believe this is very, very interesting because usually if you have something like this, the hackers demand directly like cash in Bitcoin, yeah? And in this way they simply say, please allow us to use your hardware to mine Bitcoin ourselves. I think this is quite sweet. And I was very, very wondering about this news because usually if a company has a very desirable product where the whole world is running behind it and grabbing it from the shelves, it's a good thing, and they usually say, okay, great, yeah, it's like multi-purpose hardware, buy as many as you like. But in this case, obviously the demand is way too high for the market, and so the criminals are actually fighting over this hardware. Did you read about this? No other crypto enthusiasts in this round?
But it sounds as if this is kind of a Robin Hood thing from the crypto scene, right?
Yeah, kind of. Right. So basically, the hackers they are doing this for the well-being of the community, and so you're right. Basically, you could think about if it's now okay to root for the criminals, or is it something where we as gamers say, yeah, that's right, fight the crypto people because GPUs are not for mining, they are for gaming. Yeah. But you're right, it's basically for the well-being of the community.
Well, isn't that, I don't know if I would call it Robin Hood, due to that it's Nvidia just positioning themselves in a specific spot on the market. It seems like they want to produce something that's more for gamers than it's probably for people who mine. Also, to be frank, I think the mining community is much smaller, plus people who mine usually have more than one card. And
Yeah.
I'm talking not about the Tarek in the room having like 3 or 4 maybe, but I'm talking about people who actually have like an established business with hundreds of them or more. And therefore, I think the software is protection, and actually that's the Robin Hood move, protection from groups of people who actually buy a lot of these cards, protect the gamers from these groups, to make actually these cards more available for everybody.
Right. The problem is that you can only use these cards for mining if they are working efficiently, because powering these cards costs energy. And so if the cards work very slow and your output is very low on what these cards are generating, then you are not profitable because you're investing more money for the energy that you get out. And so making these cards less efficient means that it does not make sense to participate in crypto mining anymore. That's why these big crypto mines in China or Canada are existing only there where energy is very, very cheap.
But aren't these the groups that exactly where you could now argue that this attack has been coming from in the end? Because that are the groups that are profiting from the change of hash generation, if I understood you right. And therefore, again, it is Nvidia positioning themselves on the market in order to make clear that they are more supportive of the gaming community than of the big mining conglomerates in China and usually other places where energy generation is really available.
Yeah, you could argue that it is kind of balancing the field, but I'm not sure if people who are actually aiming for profit would agree, because the idea is that everybody has the same chances, and if I only have money, let's say for one GPU, then of course I don't have any chance to participate. But the other question is if it's supposed to be in the hands of Nvidia to decide how their GPUs are used, and it might even open up like the ability for other providers, for other vendors of GPUs to say, okay, let's generate or let's create specific GPUs outside of the Nvidia realm, which are specifically only for this one purpose, and then maybe then it's okay. But this again won't work because the shortage on the market with the GPUs is not only facing Nvidia. It's right now globally on the market for vendors of microchips, that it's very hard to produce for the demand, right? And in terms of environmental protection, of course, we all know crypto mining and especially Bitcoin is very, very bad for the environment. And so it might be even something like good for the environment to reduce the ability or the profitability of crypto mining in this sense. Yeah, but I'm not sure if this is actually the motivation of Nvidia. Okay. Let's see what the random generator I have today. I can't say the word random generator. Let's say what it has in stock next. Oh, next one is Vincent with TikTok.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we all know TikTok as a social platform, and it's a video-based platform where you can upload pieces of content and to the world, and everybody can see it. And TikTok started out years ago, or not years ago. Yeah, well, actually, yeah, no, finally it's years ago with 15 seconds of video. They changed it to 30, 60. Then last year they came up with 3, and then 3 minutes upload time in total, and then some special selected creators were able to upload up to 5 minutes of content as one piece. And now TikTok is rolling out 10-minute video, but not only to specific creators, let's say creators with this blue icon everybody knows as verified, but to actually everybody. So everybody who starts out as a regular account and who wants to become a creator can now become a creator, let's say, only with 10-minute pieces of content. And this is funny because we know this from YouTube, which is, as you all know, also a very video-based platform. Remember years ago, 10 years ago or something, you were only able to upload 7-minute videos or 8-minute videos, something like that. I don't even recall. And we also know it from Vine, this short video platform, also years ago, that they had short videos and they also lengthened them. So this is something we see in this video industry all over again. And TikTok now comes, and adds up to this with 10-minute videos. And the question now stands if where this is directed to, in what kind of direction this is going. Is this to compete with something like YouTube? Because obviously YouTube is much better for monetization, and TikTok has all these struggles with creators not earning a lot of money. Tarek and I, we spoke about this extensively in a lot of calls, but so is this to compete with YouTube, or is this probably to just not compete with YouTube, but to broaden your footprint, their footprint, and let's say go against just other players, not specifically YouTube, in order to gain more view time per day? Because of course, let's say the average TikTok user is, I don't know, 15 probably, maybe 18, it doesn't matter. That person will not only use one app, they will also use, I don't know, they're going to go to Netflix, they're going to go to YouTube, they're going to go to Snap, whatever. And so now TikTok tries to kill one of these players out of the daily routine. And yeah, so that is the question. And my take is it's not against YouTube, but that's just my point of view. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to see in the end, because like on TikTok, it's specifically like this short attention span that viewers have these days is, that's why TikTok is so attractive, because the videos are so short. So I'm wondering now with these 10-minute videos, like how these, what was it called, watch through rate, or the whether people really are really willing to watch a 10-minute video on TikTok because it's not what they expect and not what they're used to. I mean, we're learning and we're adapting to this stuff. So probably one day it's like totally normal that you have these longer videos there. But I don't know. It will be interesting to see whether the users really want to have that on TikTok.
I love that. Oh, sorry.
Isn't it just broadening the spectrum of potential target groups? I mean, you still have those short time viewers, right, on the one hand, but now you also have those viewers who might prefer longer videos. And so of course it's a question of monetization. So the longer the videos, probably the better you can monetize them. That's one of the aspects I see, and also regarding content for some of the users, it might be interesting to get longer videos, longer content, so that might be attractive for them. And in that sense, also regarding YouTube, it might be an argument saying, look, we have the short videos here, which is very attractive, which is what actually TikTok became famous for. But we also have like similar videos as you have in YouTube. Maybe YouTube guy want to come over to TikTok, and then you have what you like at TikTok as well here. What you like in YouTube, you have as well here in TikTok. And yeah, maybe you also will like the shorter videos then as well. So I think it's a combination of various aspects that comes together, and as said, broadens the spectrum for TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm like, from a user perspective, like when I use YouTube, what I can see, like when the videos are listed there, I see immediately how long they are. and like what to expect, and if I'm willing to spend 45 minutes on this video or 8 minutes on another one, or if that's too long or too short or whatever, if it fulfills like my needs, so to say. But like on TikTok, when I open the app and I, like have those videos in my roll, in my timeline, I do not immediately see how long they are. I do not know what to expect from the video. So I'm curious to see whether they will mix and mash that in that view, or if they will create another view in the app so that I can be aware of, what's coming.
Yeah,
Would make sense, actually.
I agree with you that in the end, it is all up to how TikTok introduces the feature, because in the end, nobody knows how the audience of TikTok will actually react. There is one very pro argument that this will work out and everybody will be happy with it, and then there's one very argument against it. The pro argument is that TikTok's version in China, they have, as you know, or probably know, they have a dedicated version for it in China. There are 10-minute videos already introduced since 2019. So TikTok as a company, not as a European-based product, but as a company globally, they know how the users might react, and they know what features they might have to do, what buttons they have to press to get users interested in 10-minute videos. But on the other hand, the argument against it is that Vine did the same thing, and they failed miserably. I mean, we all know that the platform is non-existent anymore. There was big money dump from Twitter, but they did that and nobody cared, because everybody felt, well, maybe it was a bit later, of course, in the lifespan of the platform, but also one of the major problems was that Vine was not just perceived as that long video platform. But that probably is, Chris, I agree with you 100%, is up to TikTok and how they manage content in the app.
What I believe is very crazy is that when TikTok stormed the market, everyone was following TikTok because they set this new trend, they set this new standard. Short videos, like really short videos, were the thing, and everybody was loving it. And we know YouTube Shorts is now a thing, and Instagram Reels are a thing, and basically everyone has now this short form video because the users love it. But at the same time, as you said, Vine died trying to survive with short format content, and so TikTok now has to adapt into this other direction, and this means it's not this golden solution, and TikTok has the perfect system. And at the end, I'm very curious to see if there will be actually a competition on this market, because right now you have YouTube as the big player as a searchable library for video content. This is not what TikTok is. TikTok is entertainment, and you swipe through your For You page. But if this is not possible to monetize and to maintain, then maybe TikTok needs to become searchable, and they need to introduce a lot of more like content-based features and go away from this very short-term content. And then you basically might have like another YouTube, or the other way around. YouTube becomes like a consumer of TikTok content. And so I'm not sure if in the long run all these platforms merge together in this a little bit short term, a little bit long term, and everything together. So what's number 3? No, Vincent, Canva review.
Do you want me to go, or
yeah, sure.
Should we?
No, if the random generator says you are next, then you are next.
Okay. Okay, so the article I linked here is a bit older because I couldn't find one for the latest update of Canva Mobile. But actually, what I want to talk about and what I linked here is Canva Mobile. I got approached by accident by somebody else, or not by accident, it just happened. I got approached by somebody else. They're working on or he knows somebody who's working on a big Canva competition. And the idea of this competition, and then of Canva, because the app's not ready yet, so I brought Canva with me today. The idea is that we create everything mobile. And this is a question I have a lot in my job right now, because we're talking a lot about what software to use and everything. I work with social media, so The question stands if we shouldn't create everything in a mobile way, because actually the Canva slide production, video, it's fine, but especially photo creation is updated or has been updated in the past few months a lot, and the features are actually really great. And I think that if you want to use these kind of apps, well, I don't think it takes a long time to actually get used to these features. And that's why I brought it with me today, because this is just a very general question for me. I would love to have more opinions on. Do you think, I mean, it would be much faster and much easier if we just would work with mobile devices, maybe the biggest device being an iPad or another tablet in some sort, to start creating, because in the end, we're all connected via mobile devices. And yes, some of us have a new MacBook Pro, or I don't know, Tarek for sure orders the Mac Studio or whatever, but the most of us are taking calls from their phone, their email. I email from my phone a lot. I'm on Teams, I'm on Slack, whatever, all via my phone. Why not create slides? And why not create content with it? Because I also cut videos on my phone for TikTok and for Snap and YouTube. So why not? And that's why I brought it with me today. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a crazy question. And I mean, I personally have this opinion that the phone is good, or like the smartphone is good for everything that you need to have mobile. So if I'm sitting in a train, then it makes sense that I'm doing some quick tasks on my phone. But I personally, I enjoy having a keyboard and a big screen to work on. And maybe this makes me old because back in the day we had like these big PCs and everything, but it's just a question of practicality and having like a real keyboard where I can press tactile keys. It makes sense to work in this more efficient way. But of course, I see that a lot of people, especially in the younger generation, they only have like a tablet and a phone, and they are perfectly happy with it. And I think it's even possible to attach like a keyboard to your phone and put your phone maybe on an external monitor. I'm actually not sure if this is all possible with an external screen. So maybe this is actually a thing, that the mobile device is the new portable computer, and if it's powerful enough, then of course, yeah, why not? I totally believe that there's a market for it. I'm not 100% sure if I'm the right target group for this, but I totally see the market for this.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Tarek, because same with me, right? So this device is way too small for me to work efficiently. On the other hand, I'm probably way too old to do so. So in that sense, it's probably a Gen Z thing or something. At least it's a generation thing. So I totally agree with you guys, or especially with you, Tarek, on this one. But I also see another point, which is comparable to augmented reality, right? So nowadays we have like billions of end-user devices out there, which are capable of presenting augmented reality, but only a fraction of those potential devices is being used to show augmented reality. And why is that? Although the capability is there technically, it is not being used because it is not practical for most of the users, if they even know about what augmented reality is at all. And this is the argument nowadays, that people say, okay, the mobile device, as we have it now, the smartphone, is just a bridge technology. So which is leading to another topic, which we are dealing with actually quite often, which is the glasses, right? The mixed reality glasses, which will be coming up in the near and middle future. And when we are there, I think then everything comes together. Then we have the Gen Z again, growing up with all these technologies, also these immersive technologies on the one hand, and we have also the technical capabilities with possibilities to create whatever. And then this is my belief, people will use their mobile devices, which is not a handheld device then, but which is a glass, smart glasses, and will use that actually to do whatever kind of creations. And then we are there. So as said, this is my hypothesis. Smartphone for most or for many use cases is just a bridging technology.
Yeah, and another aspect that plays into this theory is that now with rollout of 5G, there's more and more streaming happening, and we have more cloud services. So for most applications, you do not even need a local CPU anymore, and you can have everything in the cloud. So the device that you use locally to work on does not need to have a GPU and a CPU and expensive hardware. So it might actually be possible to work on your, I don't know, smart watch or smart belt buckle. What's a belt? What's the word? Belt buckle? On your smart belt.
No, you're right. You're right. Belt buckle is exactly the word.
Yeah, and so it might be that it's will be very, very common to just, I don't know, stream to any display like your glasses or the TV or something, and you don't even need a phone anymore because everything is then just streamed through your smartwatch or something. Everything becomes more distributed, and I can also see like a trend going there. This is maybe like 2 steps in the future, not right now in regards of this mobile app, but for the question if moving all of these services to mobile apps, I think this trend makes kind of sense. Yeah, and only if you are maybe like a really professional who needs this, I don't know, 4K or 8K editing application or something like that, that this person needs a specialized computer. But maybe in the future, or maybe in the near future, 90% of the users will work on their mobile phones or belt buckles.
And since you spoke about creating slides on your mobile phone, maybe then in that future, we do not have to create slides anymore. We just finally said goodbye to this mode of presentation.
Right.
Good.
But yeah, you're right. I already saw people giving talks, going to the stage with their phone and then just plugging in their phone or connecting it to like the Apple TV. And just giving the presentation from their phone. That's true. This is already happening. So there are people who are using the smartphone as a computer for presentations. This is already there, right?
But is it also used for creation? That's the question.
Oh yeah.
So presentation is just like the playing out.
But talking about bridge devices, the phone totally is a bridge device. I agree, but the technology on there is also a bridge. So. When we're talking about creation, if we would really, dig down, if we really would focus on creating more things on mobile, I think that we would focus on factors that are now also in focus due to all this talk about VR. But we would definitely talk more about the dictation feature. All phones have a dictation feature now, and creating slides, Henrike, I think in our professional career, we will have to create some. But creating these dictation would be much better, and very fast. It would become much better. Also, I think that, remember 10 years ago, or let's say 5 years ago, mobile apps were clumsy, not really fast and efficient. They had some of the features, but not all of them, and they actually were more to show off, like free apps. Let's say all these Apple work apps you delete instantly when you get your new device. All of them, they're more promotion, to be frank, and I think, but they got better over time, and now we have things like Canva, and apparently you don't need Adobe anymore for some of the things you do, and this will get better over time. And therefore, I think if we really would want to, I think we definitely could. And looking at a lot of the jobs we do here, especially at Axel Springer, I think where a lot of it is digitalized, yes, there are pro users who need it because they code and they try out different layouts, etc., etc. But there are also people like me working in social media or journalists who record everything in the end and type out of it. And I could probably name 100 other jobs where I think that a device with a larger screen, say iPad mini, say, I don't know, Surface Mini, okay, same name. I think all of or Surface Go, I'm sorry, Surface Go. But all of these devices, say these, they would be totally enough if we really would want to.
If our tech review is valuable for you, please give us feedback with a like or a comment. That would help us tremendously and it wouldn't cost you anything. And if you don't want to miss the next episode, just click on the subscribe button. And now, back to the news. TikTok.
Alrighty. TikTok first. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, both articles that I brought are dealing with the current situation in the Ukraine and Russia. So first example, TikTok, which now decided to suspend content on Russia because they just approved a law, I think a week ago, a couple of days ago in Russia, saying that anyone who publishes something that is false information in the eyes of the Kremlin with regards to the invasion in Ukraine can be sent to jail for up to 15 years or pay a fine of like 15,000 US dollars, I think. So on the one hand, they want to ensure the safety of the content creators in Russia. But at the same time, they're now limiting, of course, the audience that these content creators can reach and tell their stories on their side of it in Russia. So they said now, like those content creators, they will now switch to Instagram or YouTube, I think, because these two, I think, are still available because Facebook has already been blocked by Russia and other news outlets, I mean, are also already dropping out. So yeah, that would be interesting to see what's left in even a couple of days. I mean, it's just happening so fast right now. While on the one hand, it's kind of right to protect them because every anti-Putin, anti-Ukraine invasion comment, has these strong. There's a strong threat of them being put to jail immediately. At the same time, who then can you reach people in Russia and make them aware of the stuff that's going on television is bullshit. So yeah, worrying kind of development. But
yeah, I mean, this is really crazy and kind of a reverse censorship. I mean, there is this talk about Russia maybe splitting up from the general internet, but this way they can simply say, okay, everyone can use social media as before, but if you say something wrong, you go to jail. This is really brutal, and I believe TikTok doesn't have any chance, or any social media network doesn't have a choice in this if they want to protect their users, because otherwise YouTube or TikTok, they can't censor their own content and filter out people talking about Russia in order to protect these users, and so all they can do is suspend their services. So yeah, this is you could say a clever tactic by the Russians for reducing the amount of like foreign or anti Russian speak. Yeah, simply make the platform censor themselves out of fear.
Yeah.
Instagram found a smart solution to this because Instagram now tags everything that seems to be Russian governmental as by the one who's posting, but also by everybody who's seeing it as potentially wrong. So it says something like you're posting something or sharing something that's potentially influenced by the Russian government. Cannot guarantee for its quality or something. I don't know. Look it up. But yeah, I think that's really good because it really shows everybody that the information that Russia wants to promote could potentially be false, and this strategy, of course, relies heavily on people just not realizing that this is false propaganda. And therefore, I think it's really smart from Instagram or from Meta in the end to attack everything that seems like it. I also think that, so I think it's a great move from TikTok in the first place. But I also think that, I mean, TikTok is a Chinese company from a bigger company which has a board of directors where the Chinese government is sitting in. So yes, it is, of course, in the end, good that we cannot promote Russian, or anybody cannot promote Russian propaganda. But I'm wondering if this is probably a publicity stunt or due to, of course, pressuring of societies, Europe, USA, etc. Because in the end, let's be honest, TikTok could be potentially a tool of a government which does exactly the same thing. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure that TikTok did this just because they are so Ukraine supportive.
Yeah, of course. Right now, it's very trendy to be pro-Ukraine and anti-Russia. So of course, you're right. It might also be just publicity. But if that's a fact that people are getting killed or arrested for producing a certain kind of content, then this probably has at least another benefit than the publicity that is happening right now on TikTok. But yeah, in terms of trend, I'm really wondering that there are so many companies starting boycotting Russia, even though I'm not sure that this was actually possible. I read that Starbucks and McDonald's or something, they stopped working in Russia. They closed their restaurants and everything, even though I wasn't sure if that's possible because these franchises are owned by the individual shop owner, right? And so these, I don't know, this poor Russian McDonald's owner who gets this instruction from the mother company in USA, you now have to close your restaurant, even though they might not even be politically involved. This is really hard. And I mean, yeah, poor Russians, they can't get their Big Mac. But yeah, the question how much publicity and how much actually sanction against the Russian government there actually is in, because by closing the McDonald's restaurant, you're not really punishing the Russian government.
Yeah, and I mean also with like, as you said at the beginning, like it plays in the hand of Russia in the end that yeah, you make sure that the people in Russia who wants to publish something anti-Putin or whatever, they do not have to fear that because they cannot publish anything on TikTok anymore. It's gone. But what if they want to consume information that is not brainwashed by Russia and get some information from the outside on what's actually going to happen? If all of these platforms now stop their businesses there, where should they get this information from?
Right. Yeah. Might even help the Russian government. Okay.
The question is, of course, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm even repeating something or this is some new content, but the question is if this actually is the goal of the Russian government to get Western or foreign influence out of the country. Because on the one hand, yeah, sure, that's much better. And look at China, it works. Or depending on the field, it works. But on the other hand, of course, this turns in the end, as Henrike said, Tarek, as you said as well, turns people against the government. And in the end, so the Russian government, of course, needs the support of its people. So at one point, I would think or argue that this is just enough. People will just have, okay, you cannot post on TikTok. Sure, you can't go on McDonald's. Okay, sure. But now look at Facebook or Meta, which is like the main communicator for a lot of people. The Messenger, WhatsApp. Imagine all of these things are gone. You can't whip up another WeChat. Maybe you could share. I mean, China, they could share probably WeChat, but no, you can't do this. So at one point, I think that people will just have enough.
Yeah.
It's my idea.
No, of course. But we all know that there is this big propaganda war that Russia and also China is always fighting. And in this direction, it might be considered a big win if the social media platforms simply don't allow people to endanger themselves by producing anti-Russian propaganda. Let's say it like anti-Russian propaganda.
Yeah, but I think it's broader, right? So the Western influence, as you called it, is not only McDonald's and Facebook. It's all the imports which actually Russian people consumed, right? Which are not there at the moment. And it's the whole spectrum of whatever kind of products. And you all have seen these pictures like from Russians actually standing in front of empty shelves and stuff. So, and this of course creates some kind of discontent within the people. So I would not be too sure that this is in the or that is the basic idea and in the positive sense of the Kremlin and of the Russian government. So I think there's always two sides in that. Of course, if you actually push back the Western influence, that's okay. But if you have all the implications with that, as just described, then that might be a big problem in the middle run for the government as well.
Right. Okay, let's jump to the next article so that we don't run out of time. The random generator says, Chris, you are on with, Russia.
Yeah, it fits quite well, actually, the article. And this is indeed about Anonymous, who apparently hacked Russian streaming services and state TV. And instead of, some kind of propaganda information, they showed, so to say, real war footage from the current situation in Ukraine and what happens there. And that was quite impressive, I thought, that something like that is possible, right? That they would be able to hack the Russian official governmental streaming services, TV services, broadcasting services, and put their own content in there. They also hacked like 400 public displays where they put overlaying texts in there, so describing scenarios and scenes and situations happening there. And also they put down the official website of the Russian government. All of this is something, from my point of view, which is quite, impressive, because I would have thought that especially these state and in the infrastructures from government side actually are being more secured, and that especially, we're talking about Russia, so they know about cyber terrorism and how the hacking thing works. So I would have expected that they know also how to protect themselves. And that situation like that happens, from my point of view, was quite impressive.
Yeah. I think right now Russia unites the whole world against themselves. And so the best hackers from all over the world are gathering and attacking Russia. And of course, they probably have like heightened security, but you can't protect everything. And especially like, I don't know, public billboards or so. I'm not sure if there's like a governmental agency going through all the vendors and all the IT infrastructure and checking if like the special firewalls of the public display somewhere in the city is up and running. Yeah,
absolutely. So the public displays apparently is the weakest thing here, but we're talking also about like the official website of the Russian government, right? Or streaming state streaming TV stations or TV channels. So this is a little bit more official and a little bit more governmentally, so to say. I would have expected some more protection.
Yeah, I guess someone just lost their jobs.
Yeah, not the first one in this whole
or their head
conflict.
Yeah.
Chris, I think you're right that this fits perfectly well with the topic before, because I think it's very interesting since it shows that it doesn't matter how much Russia tries to get out foreign influence. There are parts of infrastructure where this is just not possible, and I think that, of course, I mean, imagine a world where Russia would actually lock off the global internet and create their own whatever network. This would have. This is something I don't. I don't think it's realistic. However, imagine this would be. I don't think that in any world there would be no handshake between one network and the other. And I think, therefore, this is the best proof that what the article you brought is the best proof that Russia cannot go, lock off or, detach themselves from some crucial infrastructural parts. And McDonald's and Starbucks and all these things we spoke about, they are, well, infrastructure that has to be, signed off by the government. They're in place. You can touch them, etc., etc. Okay, for sure. But there are just things you can't deal with soldiers or power, maybe even money at some certain point. You just cannot control. And I think Russia, well, this is the best proof. Russia messed up with these kinds of points in infrastructure, and that's the bill. So I think that's just the best proof that the vision of Russia is not possible. And imagine China would, I don't know, do something like that. I think that would China also see this too. They built up walls and borders for centuries now, for decades. Sorry, not centuries, for decades. Still, they would probably see the same. And I think that's very interesting.
Yeah. And probably main motivation was that people don't have TikTok anymore, and so they can stream now TikTok on the public Russian websites and on the billboards.
Every channel is another video.
Right.
Yeah. Who gets the highest channel? We're back to I forgot the name of it. Video text.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Maybe we open an ad agency there now.
This would be really impressive to convert TikTok videos into video text format. So the next one is Henrike.
Alrighty, bringing it back to space. Yeah, unfortunately, this is just one of the many examples that shows that the time is over where or when operations in space were not affected by political events on Earth. Because there's many partnerships already now that have been paused or cancelled completely, with ESA or NASA working with Roscosmos. This is like now one of the European examples with ExoMars that was supposed to start, I think, a second phase of launching a Mars rover on Mars this summer on a Russian rocket, and also some of the landing equipment was built by Roscosmos. So this probably won't happen this year, if ever. And which is, quite sad to see that also with regards to operations on ISS, for instance, as of now, NASA and Roscosmos, they still maintain it together. But the director of Roscosmos, he already threatened NASA that they will stop supporting, with their thrusters to push back the ISS to their regular orbit, leading it to crash into the Earth, which won't happen super fast, but over a longer period of time, this is actually it's a concern. And it's worrying to see that this peace project, this global peace project, is now also affected by this conflict. And in the short term, I think the harm is big in Europe and the US and all the partners Russia worked with, because they all now have to find new spots on other launchers to launch their satellites and fulfill the missions that they planned. But in the long run, Russia is just harming themselves so badly, because who in the future is, willing to book a seat on a Soyuz rocket again, or launching their satellites with Russian rockets? Because now the trust is gone from one day to another, and it won't be happening fast to build up the trust again. But yeah.
Right.
A lot of things happened actually. A lot of projects now have been canceled and stopped, which is crazy.
Yeah, I also think that this is simply tragic and in the long run hurtful for Russia because this plan of shutting down the ISS, for example, this is older than this conflict with Russia, and the motivation of NASA stepping away from this project was also that the private industry is now capable of taking over low orbit operations, and so the big private space companies, they are not Russian. They are coming mostly from the US. And so if we say, okay, yeah, we are not playing with Russia anymore, then there are a lot of other players who can take over. And at the end, Russia will lose all corporations that are probably more important for Russia than the other way around. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that plays into their hand in the short and midterm probably is that all the changes that you make in a space project, it takes years. So it's not like now we say, okay, if the Russians cannot or won't be able to support us in like making sure the ISS is in the right orbit, then other vehicles have to take over this job, and to implement that will take years for it to actually work. So it won't happen from one day to another. So this is kind of what in the short and midterm plays into their hands. But in the long run, of course, then once we now start changing all this and rely on other partners and not on Russia anymore, then they won't be important anymore.
Yeah. And
Enrique, one quick question, just for understanding. Imagine before the Dragon missions from SpaceX, wouldn't have the Soyuz missions would the missions from Russia weren't they the only way to actually bring people up to this ISS? So this is extremely critical. Is that right? I mean, imagine that we would not have the private sector to support these missions.
Yeah, like going back like 5-6 years, that would have been like a huge issue. But since the Dragon now can bring astronauts to the ISS, and also Boeing's solution is like getting there, they're like alternatives to Soyuz. But I mean, I think just in a couple of weeks, it's actually planned to bring back astronauts, not just cosmonauts, but also astronauts with the Soyuz capsule back to Earth. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, usually nobody would care because this has never been affected by any kind of political issues on Earth. But now it is not so safe anymore.
Yeah. This would really be a bummer if the Russian government could held like astronauts hostage on the ISS by saying, yeah, we are not picking them up if you don't stop like provoking us on Earth.
Never come back to us.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that in 2022 we stop talking about COVID and we actually start reliving like a Cold War again, even though it's not really cold right now. It's really, really sad.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay, and the final link, I think, because the last one was from Lars. Yeah, right. Let's finish up with something more positive. I read some news from Google where they are experimenting with body language detection. And this one is very interesting because it's not this privacy invading camera technology where you like have a webcam and the webcam films you and tries to detect what you're doing, because this is of course a privacy concern. Google is experimenting with radar technology. So their claim is that they can use radar to read your presence and your movement and your body language and determine what your intent is while you are interacting with the computer. For example, if you are approaching the computer, it might like power up, or if you are going away, or the computer understands that someone just passing by. And all of these let's say, full body gestures can then be interpreted and used for some kind of input. And this is quite an interesting approach if this works like efficiently, because it could give any kind of computer more, I don't want to say the ability to be sentient, because it's not sentient per se, but the ability to react more on you as a person, and you would be more able to customize like the behavior of your machine. I'm already always very fascinated by the iPhone with the face unlocking, that this iPhone actually realizes when I look at it. So just holding my face in front of the camera does not unlock it. Only if my eyes move onto the cameras, then the phone unlocks. So only if I intentionally look at the phone, it will unlock. And so, of course, this is not radar technology and everything, but there's also already the ability of the phone to understand if I'm looking at it or not. Yeah, it's not only the face. And this is quite fascinating. And so I could really imagine that in the future, more smart devices, especially in my apartment, would react to my presence in the room, my movement, and my probable intention based on probably some behavior screening. And then, I don't know, understanding that I go out of bed and start cooking coffee. Yeah, right now I could program it. But in the future, it could actually react to me moving out of the bed. The article, of course, says right now it's questionable if this is possible to apply like in a logical sense, because in theory you say I approach my computer and so please boot up, and if I leave the computer, boot down or switch the TV off. But what happens if I actually want to have the TV running in the background while I'm preparing dinner or something like that? Then the computer might interpret me leaving the TV and shutting it down. And so this might be too smart for my actually desire to control the hardware by myself. Yeah. But at least from the scientific point of view, yeah.
No, I just like the example you gave with like when you're getting out of bed, like and then the coffee machine starts making your coffee or whatever, because we have like this saying in German, if you like get up on the wrong foot, what happens to to all the setup in general? What happens then? Like the machine's going crazy because like, something's out of order or whatever.
Right. Your smart home tries to guess what is going on, and I don't know, it starts mowing the lawn or something.
As you said, it's just about probabilities, right? So, and sometimes you don't want to be just calculated. You just don't want to be a variable in a calculation. Maybe you just have like different things to do, different ideas. You just want to do something different than the usual way. And then it might be annoying. For instance, I have a new oven here, and whenever I put one of these pots from one place to the other, it starts beeping for whatever reason. And if that is really annoying, because this is exactly what I want to do, and I don't want any machine telling me or beeping at me just because doing what I'm doing, because the machine thinks it knows better what to do than me. It's the same with cars, for instance. What I really like or dislike actually is when a car tells you you might need a brake since it believes it has detected some signs of tiredness in your way of driving. I mean, come on, this is ridiculous, and this is definitely not what I would like to have in my apartment, Tarek, and not in my personal future.
Yeah,
not in that way.
I think that this is just the next logical step, that devices will be able to detect these things, because I mean, look at our world now. We try this and we use workarounds the whole time. I mean, there are people out there with a coffee maker that has Amazon Alexa or something like that. Okay, sure, that is something else, but there are timers on things, on, I don't know. So, for example, Jewish people can't work anything electric during their rest time. So they have timers on literally everything. And this, of course, would change that. Or I don't know, maybe not in this specific area, but this is, I think, a great example for it. And I mean, look at Apple with Apple Watch and all the other Apple features or devices. They use the watch as a workaround for nearly everything: unlocking your computer, unlocking your phone with a mask, detecting a fall. All these things are detecting if you want to use your device or not. Now you can pick up your phone and it realizes that it's been picked up and it turns on the screen, and with Face ID, it actually automatically unlocks. So I think we have all these workarounds for something that is yet to come, which I think is summarized in this article pretty well. So I'm very positive about this. And yeah, I mean, of course, there will be a lot of security risk questions, et cetera, attached to this, which I can't see right now. But I mean, look at the inventing of the finger scanner on phones as well. A lot of people were against it. Still, it came on the market, and yeah, there were questions, but it also helped a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, also here, I think we're talking about bridge technologies again, right? So it's there, it works more or less, but there still is this level of tolerance, right? And all this technology is still a little bit underneath that. As long as the probability of the machine is not that high that it really knows what I want, but just assumes to know what I want, it will make mistakes, and that then might be annoying. Also, I'd like to talk with this machine then later on, right? So if it's doing something, then I do not want to type on some whatever kind of keyboard or stuff like that. I just want to tell it, look, stop that, do another thing, or go away, or whatever, right? So when it has this level of intelligence, then we are talking. But as long as this is not the case, from my point of view, it's bridge technology, which does not mean it's not. It does not have any sense, right? So of course we need bridge technology to get somewhere, but bridge technology might be annoying on the way to wherever.
Yeah, it reminds me, at Ideas Engineering we built this talking coffee maker, and it had a camera, and it was detecting if you are looking happy or if you're looking sad while you're waiting for your coffee. And if you're looking sad, it was telling you a joke to cheer you up. And I loved it so much. It was such an amazing thing. But people were hating it. Yeah, they came to the coffee maker, and the coffee maker was saying like, "Oh, you look sad." And so, yeah, as you said, you want to give feedback. And so our smart home devices become like an unwanted roommate, right? Someone who just gives you like unwanted feedback, like, "Oh, you look tired. You should sleep more." Shut up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I still love it. I still love the talking coffee maker. Okay, yeah.
But that's the thing. Just one last phrase.
Sure.
You want this technology to be helpful and not to be somebody who wants or tries to guide you through life. So I had a mother, and when I was young, and that was okay. But now, as a grown-up, I actually want to make my own decisions.
Yeah, the AI knows better.
Uh-oh. So is that the future we're heading to?
Sure, I think we are already there. Okay, yeah, we are already over time, but I really loved all the stories that we had today, so I think it was very, very vivid. Thank you so much for contributing, and thank you everyone who was watching. I think we had more live viewers than ever before, so really, really great to see all of you. Thank you so much, and see you again in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.